some of the symptoms. In fact, I'll be bold to say, they probably are causing some of your symptoms. So check this out. This
You
is
can't
this.
put something into your body and expect nothing to change. I mean, that's
Right.
why they're called medications, is
Yeah.
because their intention
It
is
makes
to
a change.
change the chemistry in your body.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily go to the one symptom or condition that the doctor is hoping or the patient is hoping it goes to, because it's systemic. And people need to be aware that every medication responds differently in every single person. And so just because there's lots of stories out there about how something might be helping somebody feel better doesn't mean it's going to make you feel better.
Well, and let's just tighten up the words there. Yes, it might make you feel better, but does it actually help you to heal better? And that's a different question. And that's interesting, because that's what chiropractors, naturopaths, and even a lot of times acupuncturists or natural practitioners see. We ask different questions. In Western medicine, also known as allopathy, allo means opposite of, pathy means the disease process. In other words, if you hurt, they give you something to make you feel better. It's trying to do whatever the opposite is. So if you have diarrhea, we give you something to constipate you. If you have constipation, we give you something to, make you have diarrhea to kind of move things along. So, and that's I don't think we should be upset with Western medicine, because that's their job. And again, I think they do such a great job at acute, painful or even life-threatening conditions. And guys, that's where we need these medications. And my argument would be, that's where we want to have these medications. Shoot, if they have to do a surgery on me, I think I'm going to want the antibiotic. Okay, I think I want the pain medication. Well, if they're going to open up my body and expose the inside that's not really exposed to the outside, yeah, I want my doctors, my nurses, I want them to be clean and all sterilized up, and I want, probably going to need some antibiotics to help out with potential infection, because those bacteria from the outside are going to get to the inside. So
I was going to make a garlic spread to put in there.
Why don't we try a garlic pate and put it in there and see how that might work. But yeah, with these medications, back to the analogy we used last time of the fish tank. Remember, Eric, the fish guy, was talking about exactly the same thing. And he says, when you introduce a fish that's sick, or you introduce an antibiotic, or you introduce some chemical into the fish tank, you are upsetting, or potentially upsetting, the whole ecosystem. You can mess up everything in the environment. The plants that are living in there, especially important, the bacteria that are and he said, in the bottom of the tank. He goes, you don't even have a filter on your tank, is what he was saying. You don't even have a filter. The filter is in all the rocks here at the bottom. That's where all the bacteria are. And guys, we have bacteria inside of our guts as well. And that's really important to make sure those guys are happy. And things like chemicals, like medication, can and often do upset that ecosystem. So let's go back over to this.
You're talking about the human.
Yeah, to the human system. Yeah.
You're talking about inside the human body, it alters the ecosystem.
Yes. So the topic is I wanted to share what my colleague came up with. Now, this is just talking about peripheral neuropathy. So as people come into the office, I tell them, hey, you know what? We have an 85 to 90% success rate with reversing peripheral neuropathy. And they're like, no way. I've never heard of that. Nobody's ever doing that. And I'll tell you a little secret.
My doctor told me there's no cure.
Yeah, there's no cure. Learn to live with it. There's nothing that can be done. Just take your gabapentin and be on with yourself. Learn to live with it. And no, we actually do get an 85 to a 90% success rate. And the way we do that is by cleaning up the environment. We help to build a better ecosystem. And we could talk more on that later. But the other day, I actually helped I'll just say it, I helped a patient to cure her neuropathy. You know what I did? I looked at the symptoms that she was having, and a lot of those symptoms she was complaining about was cramping in the legs, muscle spasms in the back, and it was down one side, and it was on the front of the leg, and the back of the leg, and the thigh, and it was really, really causing me to think, like, gee, this sounds like a medication. So I looked at her medication list, and sure enough, on that list was a cholesterol-lowering statin. And I don't know if you, the listener, know this or not, but the most common side effect of statin cholesterol-lowering medications is myopathies. They actually literally have a diagnosis for that. Statin myopathy is what it's called. Myo means muscle, pathy, problem with. So it means that it can cause cramping and spasms. And I'm looking at this person, I'm looking at her symptoms, and I'm looking at the medication she's taking, and I said, look, here's what I want you to do before we even decide to start. you got to go to your doc, your medical doctor, and say, Doc, can we take this statin away? Can we maybe do an experiment, 3-4 weeks, see if that makes a difference? And I said, go to your doctor, work with him for a while, and see if that makes a difference. If it doesn't, and it turns out it's not statins, we'll take another look at this. Anyway, she calls me back 3 weeks later and says, thank you so much, you cured my neuropathy. And I had to look up the file, like, wait a minute, who is this? I don't even think she's a patient. Oh, yeah, I did that evaluation with her. I sent her away. I said, what do you mean? She goes, well, I did what you said. I went to my doctor. He said, okay, that sounds like a reasonable thing. Let's take you off that statin. Now, here's the key. She told me, like so many patients do, she was in disbelief. She goes, there's no way. I've been on the statin for 8 years, haven't had a single problem with it. I said, you know what? These things can be accumulative. They can be accumulative. They can add up over time. I said, please, I'm not going to accept you as a patient until you go check this out with your doc. Long story short, she goes to her doc. He says, okay, that's fine. Let's try that out. We can do that. I think he took her off, planned on 3 or 4 weeks. It was like a week and a half, her symptoms. I mean, it was like within the first day her symptoms improved. But she said it was like a week and a half, 2 weeks, gone.
Wow.
Peripheral neuropathy, gone. She didn't need my care, right? She didn't need the fancy lasers
and getting her cholesterol
yeah, she does.
Some lifestyle.
So she does have to look at that cholesterol, and I think that's something that we can work on, and she can take a closer look at that to see why her cholesterol is so high. But that's one of the things that chiropractors are, we're kind of ostracized because we like to look at the cause of the problem. What's causing the dang thing?
What a concept.
Yeah, and in this case, it wasn't the statins. It was the high cholesterol, which caused her to be on the statins. But it really wasn't the high cholesterol. It was nutrition. It was improper nutrition and lack of exercise.
Right.
So go back
really
to the basics.
Preventable disease.
Everything comes back to the basics. It's funny. It goes back to the basics. It's good nutrition, like you said.
Healthy lifestyle.
Lots of good sleep. Healthy lifestyle, stress management, exercise, and other things that are needed. And that's what Vitality Now is all about.
Right. People can save so much money and time on medications and appointments if they made a commitment to at least try it. Just try for 30 days how different you can feel by just setting up some goals of what you want to eliminate, just one thing from your diet, whether it's, I'm not going to eat sugar after, 4 p.m. every day. Start with that and see how you sleep, see how you feel, and then add something more to, your commitment to your health.
I think if the listener gets nothing else out of today's or any other thing, you just nailed it right there. You could have just saved so much money. So much time, so much grief. In our office, so much suffering. In our office, we see, people call them miraculous. Like, it's a miracle, I can walk again. It's a miracle, I've lost 20 pounds. The weight's just slipping off. It's amazing.
I'm
feeling
better.
so much better. My
happier.
feet are feeling better. I'm happier. My life is so much better. I'm playing with my grandkids. And what are we doing? We're teaching people how to set up that ecosystem, how to get their body healthy, teaching them proper things to do.
And it's really all so simple. It's so simple.
It's the simplest, low tech.
Oh my gosh.
It's low tech, you guys. It's easy. Go back to the basics. So look, these medicines, we got a little sidetracked. So think about this. If you're on these medications and you happen to have these any of the side effects like burning, tingling, or numbness like peripheral neuropathy, these are some of the top things that could cause that. So we already said.
Restless leg syndrome too, right?
Restless leg syndrome, yep. All right, so some of the top things. Statin medications, so cholesterol-lowering medications, blood pressure medications, diabetes medications, okay, anti-cancer medications, chemotherapy. We know that chemotherapy-induced neuropathies are getting more and more common. Okay, medications for infections, antibiotics. Medications that can treat autoimmune conditions such as rheumatoid and even diabetes type 1, okay? And medications that treat gout. And these are just some of the top ones. And we're only really talking about these things as potential causes for peripheral neuropathy. Now, insert your medication into this, and I want you to at least just think, gee, I wonder if my blood pressure medication, my cholesterol medication, could be leading to my runny nose or could be leading to my fatigue. I wonder if my gabapentin, which is really actually supposed to be for seizures, but they use it for neuropathy. I wonder if my gabapentin could be causing brain fog. It does. All right. So Start looking at this. All I want to do today is to create a big fat question mark in your mind. Like, gee, I wonder what? I wonder if it could. Now, neuropathy often isn't just as easy as eliminating the bad foods and drinking lots of good water, but sometimes it is. But sometimes we have to go a bit deeper. And I use the analogy all the time. And again, this works for neuropathy or cancer or whatever we're really talking about. The first thing that we must do is stop the offending activity.
Stop poisoning.
Stop poisoning. Stop poisoning yourself. Okay?
Poisoning the tank.
Yeah. It's like you have a bunch of holes in your wall and it looks like somebody's been banging on your sheetrock, and you wake up every day and there's more and more holes in the wall, and you go, gosh, I have holes in my wall. So you call up the contractor, you call up the carpenter, he comes in with the sheetrock, his mud, his tape, and his paint, comes in the day and he muds it, he tapes it, he does everything he does, sands it, fills all the holes, it looks great, and you say, thank you so much, that's awesome. Nighttime comes again, the whoever it is starts hammering on the wall again, call the contractor again, he fills all the holes. That's what medicine is doing. It's attempting to fill the holes, but nobody's looking at the dang cause. Who's hammering away at the wall? Stop the hammering at the wall. And some of the darn medications that you're taking are causing holes in your wall, are causing symptoms.
You're taking some medications to fill the holes, and you're taking other medications that are creating holes in the wall.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah. Great analogy.
Right.
Great analogy.
Yeah.
Do I sound frustrated and irritated? I talk about this all the time.
So much can be done just by people taking a closer look at their medication. So read your inserts. You can go online. If you don't have your inserts, you can look up your medication and look at the side effects. That would be the homework I would recommend.
Here's another thing. This is even easier than that. So if you have an internet connection, you probably do, go onto Google or any search engine and just type in your medication and just type in, like for instance, gabapentin side effect. You are going to be blown away when you hit that enter button. There's gazillions of hits. And now some of these things you'll have to start to, get your dictionary out, and you'll see things like paresthesia, and you're like, oh, I don't have that. Well, that's weird sensation coming from your nerves. So that could be the burning, the tingling, the numbness. That could be like feeling like ants are crawling up your skin. Those are called paresthesias. So, and you may have to break down some of these medical words that are thrown around in there, and it's totally worth it. You should definitely do it, but yeah, get the inserts.
The manufacturer, will usually break it down to terms that you can understand, and of course, you're right there online. Mm-hmm. You can just click on that word, and it'll define it for you.
Yep, you can click on the word. You can go do a Google search. What is that word? But you guys, you've got to take responsibility for your health.
Know what you're putting into your body.
Know it. Nobody. Not your mama, not your government, not your doctor, not even myself or Dr. Jennifer can be more caring and responsible for you and your health than you.
I care about you.
No one we care about you. Right. We do care about you. We love our listeners. We love you. We really do. But you have got to take responsibility. We're now at the time of the information age where we have information, so much of it at our fingertips. Mm-hmm. And look, ultimately, it's not up to your doctor to get you healthy. You've got to be responsible. So take that responsibility, take that keyboard, take the little smartphone you have, and start digging deep. Start figuring this stuff out.
If it is
there is a chance that somebody with that condition, with that symptom, somebody on this planet has healed from that. Guarantee you, somebody's healed from obesity. I know lots of them. Somebody's healed themselves from diabetes. I've helped lots of people do that. I've helped lots of people heal themselves from peripheral neuropathy. People have healed up from things like cancer. It's not a death sentence. If somebody's done it,
it's not impossible.
It's not impossible.
If it is to be,
it is up to me, right? So that's really what it's all about. And I think, let's leave it with that. I think the most important thing is to take responsibility, listen to programs like this, get on the net. You can't believe everything on the net, right? But get informed. Yeah. Inform yourself. If you don't think you have it in you, ask your daughter, ask your son, ask your friend, ask your husband, your wife. Somebody else is out there that can help you out. I do it all the time. I'd love to help you out. I can do that as well. Might be a lot faster than for me because that's what I do, but you can also do this yourself. Dig deep. Start doing the research.
You have talks that you do all the time in the community, so if you are ever interested in meeting us or meeting Dr. Prax in person, just give us a call and we'll let you know when our next free presentation or seminar is in office.
Yep. Coming out with a book soon too, so we can get that out there, and that's really what it's all about here at Vitality Now, is bringing more vitality to you. So start doing that research, start digging deep, and
you can go re-listen to this podcast if you didn't hear the whole thing, or you
Yep.
can share it with a friend. Thanks again for listening, and we look forward to checking in with you next week.
yep, you guys have a nice and vital weekend. Till then, take good care.
It's a wrap.
I think I'm supposed to hit record. Yeah.